Am I the idiot for telling my BFF I'm not buying in her bakery because their quality is bad? For a little context, I'm an extremely perfectionist person. Most of the time I need to do things myself because otherwise I feel they aren't good enough. When I'm out shopping I could spend hours just looking for a jean and then I go home crying because I didn't find anything that fits perfect to me. It's exhausting to me and people around me. So I'd be trying my best to have my perfectionism character under control because I know it's unfair to make people feel like that. When my husband and I started living together, we split house chores 50-50ths. If he cleaned the bathroom, I have to go clean it again because I feel it wasn't clean enough. I was aware he felt bad when I did that, so I stopped, and now I always praise how good he is doing his chores and how important is his help to me. I'm a control freak, I know it sucks, but I try. Okay. So the thing now is one of my best friends for high school opened a bakery a few months ago. My other BFF and I went a couple of times there to support her, buy some cupcakes, and shared her page on SM. Being honest, the only reason I brought her cakes was because she is my friend, because I could bake a cake 10 times better at home. I never said anything to anybody but my husband, who agreed with me that they're not good, but since she's a friend we should stop there and buy a little something to help in these struggling times, and I agree 100%. So my daughter is turning 1 soon. Due to COVID-19 I don't want to risk doing a big birthday party, it's just going to be my parents, my brother and my in-laws, but I still want to save cute memories from her first birthday. I'm planning everything to be the most beautiful party at home with her closest family. My 2 friends and I have a WhatsApp group and they have been asking me non-stop about the birthday party, and of course who is going to make the cake. I avoided any questions regarding the cake, but at some point they become rather insistent, so I told them we choose a French bakery nearby. My friend them asked me why I choose another bakery when I can choose her and she could give a good discount. I didn't reply again, but they kept pressing, asking me to cancel my order so my friend could make the cake. I ended losing it and told them her cake's quality wasn't what we were looking for. Now my friend isn't taking to me. She is posting trash about how fake friends never support you when you need them the most. My other friend thinks I'm an A** hole for saying that her cakes have a bad quality and refusing to support a small business owned by my best friend. My husband thinks that I should buy the cake for her for the sake of our friendship and make a backup cake myself just in case. So, and wondering if I'm really the TA for not buying my daughter's cake for my friend? Update. Yesterday after breakfast I sat with my husband to have a talk. I told him he was right, banning his friend was wrong. They will meet anywhere else where he can still actively drag me down and encourage him to cheat. Plus I don't want my daughter to be near a grown man that was constantly thinking about how tight a young girl's vagina may be. I didn't mention it in my post, but this girl is in her early 20s while we all are in our mid-30s. My husband was mad at me for insinuating that his friend was a perv and was even more mad, because now I was saying he should cut his friendship out. I told him I feel disappointed that he let someone talk of me and my body that way. I was disappointed that someone tried to sabotage our marriage and he let him got away with it. If the family we had built was less important than this brotherhood, he should go ahead and tell me already so I won't be losing my time. He said I was right, but I couldn't possibly understand him because I came from a large family. I pointed out that he has a family now and his family must come first than any friendship, brotherhood or whatever. He agreed. Well, later that day his friend came over to pick something. They ended up hanging in our front yard for 2 hours and my husband even took our daughter to say to uncle and play. I was seeing red. I waited until the friend left, packed mine and my girl's stuff and left to my parents. I messaged him, he had 2 options, to man up and stick to his family or see us in court. I wasn't about to take any disrespect from nobody, not him. Not his friend. I also sent him the link of my previous post so he could see some extra perspective. He massaged me telling me how sorry he was. He was willing to do anything to not lose us. He said he was sorry for being so weak and not protecting me, our intimacy and our marriage. Sent me some screenshots where he tells his friend to stop trying to introduce him to women and getting him to cheat. He asked for a dinner to discuss some boundaries they need to set in their friendship and the respect he should has for his marriage. My husband asked me to come along to this dinner so I can see myself that it's true he's setting boundaries and he will put distance between then too. Also agreed to do some kind counseling to deal with his own trauma of losing people. I said that I support him hearty, but I'm staying with my parents until dinner with his friend is over and I see some kind of improvement. That is. Again, thanks. Edit. I'm overwhelmed by all the responses this is getting and not used to be in the spotlight. I feel so vulnerable. I'm taking a time off to figure this out. I love my husband and I miss him deathly. I miss everything about him. I hope we can be together again anytime soon. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for saying a lap dance doesn't count as cheating? Trust me, I know how this sounds, but just hear me out. When I, F30, was in college, I worked at a co-ed strip club. The money was incredible and helped me pay off my student loans faster than minimum wage ever could, so I have no regrets about it. After I graduated, I got a good job at an accounting firm and that's how I met my husband, M34. We've been married for 3 years. My husband knows all about my old job and some of my best friends are people I worked with there who he also gets along with. One of these friends, let's call him Henry, M29, is probably my closest friend, besides my high school BFF. He moved in our guest room about 4 months ago because his boyfriend kicked him out of the house, and we agreed to let him stay and save up for his own place. For obvious reasons, he's been laid off from his job and has been doing online side projects, but he still pays rent and cooks, so I'm fine with him. My husband was also fine with him until last weekend. My husband decided to go out back and get some much-needed yard work done, while Henry and I hung out in the basement playing pool and drinking wine. We started getting pretty tipsy, so we put on some of our favorite songs from our old work and started reminiscing old times. We were both getting back into our groove, laughing and dancing, and that's when I thought it would be fun to give Henry a lap dance to see if I still got it. Apparently, my husband went to knock on the basement window to tell us to turn down the music and saw the lap dance. And he went completely berserk. He tried to kick Henry out, but I told him both our names are on the house and so I get a say, too. He told me he's never felt so betrayed in our whole relationship and now he'll barely speak to me. He's been locking himself in our office with an air mattress and the dog 24/7 since, only coming out for food, the bathroom, or walks. I keep telling him he's being ridiculous because Henry is gay for crying out loud, but he says he won't stop until Henry leaves. And there's something wrong with me if I can't understand why he's angry. I was pretty confident I was in the right, but he's still fuming, so now I'm second-guessing myself. Am I the asshole here? Edit. Hey, guys, I appreciate the feedback, but I'd like to kindly ask that you please stop upvoting this because my husband uses Reddit, and I really don't want him to see this. He doesn't go on this specific subreddit as far as I know, and I fudged some of the minor details for anonymity, but I just don't want to risk it. Thank you. Edit 2. No, guys, I was not naked and neither was Henry for those who are asking. We didn't even touch. I did not cheat on my husband. This thread is incredibly sexist and homophobic. And again, please stop upvoting, you're just doing it out of cruelty at this point. Comment 1. Alright, gonna try to explain here. Just because Henry is gay, doesn't mean you can't have feelings for Henry. You are not gay, and you are acting sexually towards Henry. Just because someone is gay isn't a pass that means you can rub yourself all over them. Just like it wouldn't be okay if you made out with Henry or had sex with Henry. You weren't being paid for this lap dance, you chose to do it for fun, which means you were enjoying doing something sexual with another man who is a friend and lives in your house. If you wanted to practice your lap dancing, I'm sure your husband would be happy to provide a lap. Comment 2. Agreed. My best friend, I'm F, he's M, and I'm straight, I still get some feelings for him here and there. I like being touchy and going in for hugs occasionally, and sometimes I'd like more from him, but I know he's gay, so I just accept that I can't have it and there's nothing I can do for it. He can be the whole pride parade and I could still have feelings for him here and there. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for shouting at my ex in front of my daughters? I, 37M, have 3 girls, 8, 10, and 12. Their mother walked out on us for another man when our youngest was around 4. My ex still stays in contact, though, and pays child support. A few weeks ago while doing laundry, I saw red spots on my oldest's underwear. I asked her if she knew about it, and she cried and told me she tried to call her mom, but my ex didn't call back. She'd been stuffing toilet paper in her underwear, hoping that would work. I explained to her that periods are nothing to be ashamed of, and found some great resources online for us to review together. I took her to the store to pick out brands of feminine products she wanted to use. She picked Playtex Sport because she's a gymnast. After we were done, I decided I should do the same thing with my other two. My 12-year-old volunteered to be part of preparing them, and we made a whole night of it. It was wonderful, and I learned a lot. I even learned what a menstrual cup is, and how they benefit the environment. The other day, my ex called back. I'll usually arrange a video chat and leave the room so they can have some alone time, and when they're done chatting, I'll come back in to talk boring co-parenting stuff like school, bills, etc. This last time, my ex was furious with me for talking about periods with the girls. She shouted at me that I was sick and perverted. Why didn't I call her myself if I knew it was so urgent? I could have called one of their grandmas/aunts, but my mom has dementia, while her mom and sisters call me a loser because I teach kindergarten, so I'm not fond of them. My ex told me I was being immature and should have just toughed it out for the girls. This really pissed me off, so I shouted back that maybe if she wasn't such a deadbeat and answered her goddamned phone once in a while, she could have handled this. I brought up everything she does that hurts them. She hasn't been to a single soccer game, piano recital, or gymnastics meet in 2 years. Every other weekend when they come home from her house, they go straight to their rooms, only to emerge hours later asking me why she loves her new husband more than them, and what did they do to make her leave. My ex responded by saying I should tell them it's not their fault I couldn't satisfy her, and I screamed of "fuck you," and she just smirked and pointed behind me, saying, "Look what you did." When I turned around, my 8-year-old and 10-year-old were standing in the doorway crying. It broke my heart. I never shout, so I know I scared them. My 12-year-old stormed in and started screaming at her mom, and while I appreciate her sticking up for me, this is not a battle I want her fighting. My ex hung up before I could fully de-escalate the situation, and let's just say the girls have been given free reign of the ice cream and limitless hours of video games, because I feel so bad. I even watched all the Twilight movies with them, so don't say I don't love them. But in this instance, AITA for shouting? Update. It's been almost a month since my original post, and a lot has happened since then. Many of you asked for an update, so here goes. Last weekend, the girls were at their mom's. After she dropped them off Sunday night, my 12-year-old asked to talk to me in private. We went into her room, and she showed me 2 recordings she'd taken on her phone, one of my ex trying to convince them I was abusing them, and one of her and her husband arguing about how much she was paying in child support. And I'll be honest here, my cousin is a family court lawyer and basically raked her over the coals. It wasn't pretty, but I was still extremely hurt over the affair. I even got alimony. Anyway, my 12-year-old told me she didn't want to go to her mom's anymore, but she said she felt she had to because she's the oldest sibling and it's her job to protect the younger ones. I've always instilled this value in her. I'm an oldest child myself, but seeing this just made me even more upset, because now it's just another battle she's fighting that she shouldn't be. She's also just started to figure out that her mom cheated, and over the past couple weeks she started firing tons of questions at me about the timeline of their relationship I couldn't really answer, and after showing me the recordings, she literally demanded I answer her, yes or no, did her mom cheat on me? It wasn't easy, but I told her the truth, with the promise she wouldn't tell her sisters. As much it sucks, that's my job, not hers. The way she cried on my shoulder was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever experienced. But she was catching on, and I figured if she's going to find out regardless, it should be in a setting where she's comfortable. After she was done crying, I told her to email me the recordings she took, and called my cousin. We've just started the paperwork, but my cousin is certain we can get my ex nailed for parental alienation, and since she got a promotion a few months ago, I should be able to renegotiate the child support payments as well. Most importantly, the recordings should be enough to give me grounds for supervised visits only, which is what I want. I still want the girls to have a relationship with their mom, especially since the younger two still want to see her. I'm just going to have to make sure I'm present at all times when they're with her. Co-parenting is oodles of fun, kids. Anyway, I also want to give a huge thank you to all the supportive comments and messages. I only saw most of the DMs recently because I use the Reddit is Fun app on my phone, and for some reason it doesn't show chat room messages. I'm not the best with technology, seeing as my most valuable job skill is herding 5 yos, but I wouldn't trade it for any other career. Thanks for all your support, Reddit. Comment 1. Same here. Early 20s though, my dad and I's relationship went downhill when I hit high school because he had to work out of state. From the time I was 12 until I was 15, so he came back to me being much more independent than I used to be. He didn't quite transition very well and became very controlling, had high expectations of me without helping me reach those goals, etc. And it wasn't until I moved out and we got into a big fight that I finally blocked him and refused to see him. For 4 months I was able to live my life happily without any anxiety about him, and he got to sit and realize what a jerk he had been to me. Our relationship is the best it's ever been now. These last few months I've had longer conversations with him than I've had since I was 10. I think the realization I don't have to keep him in my life was a huge wake-up call for him. Comment 2. This was something my dad struggled with even when I was an adult and my parents split. I was 22. I hadn't gotten along with my mom for over a decade, an abusive narcissist, at that point, and was relieved. When I decided to go and see though, she used his desire for me to have a mother figure to bully him into talking me into speaking with her. Luckily I as an adult had the language to go, this was my choice and I shouldn't have to speak with her if I don't want to. But it would have been so much healthier for us to have had that conversation in the first place.